of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. There's lights that burn so brightly, in the northeast sky they shine. From a place that Geordies worship, where legends wear number 9. You can travel right round the world, even meet the Pope in Rome. But nothing beats the feeling of when you come back here to home. No matter how life changes, we'll never be far apart. The northeast always home, and it's always in your heart. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to It's All Black and White TV. And yes, it is the 2022 year in review. So we're reviewing the year from January until now, as we're going to end this year in the top 4 and mostly in third place, I think, as well. So, guys, yeah, I mean, what a year it's been, and we're going to go through it. And I'm pleased to be joined by Rolly. How are you today, Rolly?
I'm good, Tony. I'm looking forward to this review. What a year it's been. It's been beyond my wildest dreams, and I'm loving every second of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys, I put a shot this morning. If you did see it, it was a Premier League roundup. Look at it at your own leisure. Also, in the chat tonight, I've also put a poll in there. So if you'd like to take part in that poll, that would be absolutely fantastic. And then announce the results before the end of the show. So that would be absolutely fantastic if you can do that poll for me as well, and see what people are thinking. But you've got to have had this thought before the ball was kicked, before we played Forest. So bearing in mind, that's when it's from. So before this season started. So guys, yeah, what a year it's been. Before I get started and go into any comments as well, if you like what you see, please hit the like button. It does help the channel up the search result and makes people find it a lot easier when they're looking for content for Newcastle United or any football related at all. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe button. It's really helps the channel grow, and the bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. Thank you very much for that, guys. I've got a comment there. Alan's in the chat. He says, "Evening, Tony and Rolly." Evening, Alan. I hope you're well.
Hope you've had a good Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And check out the poll as well, mate, while you're there. Night in the gaming. Evening, both. Evening to you as well, mate.
Evening.
Yeah, so I was going to originally do this. I was going to think I'm doing it Saturday, but then I thought we were playing Leeds Saturday, New Year's Eve. And as I'm up in Newcastle tomorrow and Friday, I haven't really got the time to do it, so I thought I'd best get it out there tonight and suppose getting ahead of before anybody else as well. So, because there'll be lots of people doing it, so so I thought I'd get in there and just do it tonight. Chris is in. He says, "Hi, Tony and Rolly." Hi, Chris. Hope you're well, mate. Mighty Max says, "Hi, Tony and Rolly. Did you see Rogers about Madison will be out for the Liverpool game? Sounds he's paid off." I haven't seen that, but
I did hear that he was out for Liverpool.
Do you know what? Something stinks with this. Something stinks. I'm sorry. I'm just not buying this, that he's got this injury, because, right, look at the World Cup. He went to the World Cup. Watch the pictures on the TV. He was training with the England squad, running about on the pitch, on the training ground. If his knee is not that great, why would he be running about a training pitch? And so the suspicions I've got of this is, right, one is we've signed him and it's a gentleman's agreement that he won't play a game until he comes to sign for us in January the 1st. So that's one option I'm thinking. Second option, maybe, because obviously we're not the only club looking at Madison. I think there's other clubs as well. maybe the Leicester owners have said, look, he's not going to sign a new deal because it's been there since September. He's never bothered once to attempt to sign it. So I want you to keep him out the team and let's sell him in January and get some money for him. That's the only other option I can think. But the third option is he does have an injury, but we'll find out more from the Leicester end. So there's a few conundrums there where it could be something is not ringing true to me. Something is not ringing right.
I think the other option, Tony, is that he's asked to leave. The ownership has said, "Okay, if we get a good offer, we'll let you go." And Rodgers is pissed off and not playing him, because if you looked at the pictures of him during our game, he looked mighty pissed off that he's on the bench. So something's gone. I haven't seen a guy on the bench look so sort of like, oh, that look like I want to be anywhere else but here on his face, and sitting there all scrunched up like that. And I think he's asked to leave. Maybe the management said don't play him, and Rodgers is not happy with it.
I mean, he sat there in the stands. He's not got a Leicester training top on, a Leicester jacket on, or anything. He's in his own coat with a scarf on. So that to me tells me something's not right amongst that somewhere around there. I mean, Alan says, let's finish the year with a bang against Leeds with a win, onwards and upwards. Absolutely. Night and Day Gaming says, I think he's asked to leave and to come to us, so they've taken him out. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. I mean, something's not ringing true. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, the other option is that there's nothing up and he was just cold when he was pictured.
Yeah.
We don't know until something solid comes out of Leicester, which I doubt it will. Well, before January the 1st.
And Nate's just commented on what I've said. He wasn't wearing any Leicester gear either, which makes me think he's on his way out. And Mighty Mag says, Roger said something along the lines, don't ask me when he will be back. So, I mean, yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? I mean, Alan says, lads, do you think we're going to need a sign in January for a midfielder as Shelvey's injured? Yeah, Shelvey's out. He's injured. I mean, you know, he's literally not just long come back from an injury, Shelvey either.
Yeah.
And, you know, and now he's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a calf injury. I mean, God, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think the plans were he was going to go in January, what I saw of reports. But obviously, if he's injured now, he's not going to leave in January. I think the summer he'll be gone. And do you know what? Fair play if he goes, because is he the guy to keep us and go through the Champions League with? No. So, but he's done what he's had to do at the club, and I think his time will be up in the summer. Before I go on to anything else as well, I just want to say, I just want to send well wishes to Matty Longstaff. It looks like he came off for Colchester. He went on as a sub and came and got subbed back off in the 98th minute or something because he came down with a knee injury. And according to Colchester's manager, Matt Bloomfield, it's a serious knee injury. How long he's going to be out, we do not know. But also, the manager of Colchester, Matt Bloomfield, did say, it shows you how much professionalism this lad has. He says, when I come back into the dressing room, because he was still there, waiting to be taken away to hospital, he said, did we win, by the way, Gaffer? And he asked that question. And he said, yes, we did win the game. He said when he arrived at the club about a month ago, he says he had that hamstring injury as well. And he says he'd only just come back and then he went out with a knee injury. So it looks like it could be a long-term thing. He's out of contract at the end of the season. We wish him well. That's all we can do. Wish him well and hope he makes a speedy recovery. And I'm sure that we'll find out from the club how bad his knee injury is to come. But yeah. So guys, sorry, Rolly.
I echo that sentiment.
Yeah,
unfortunate to get the injury, especially when he's essentially in the shop window because he's got no future at Newcastle. He wants to be playing so that he can get himself maybe a league, championship club or something that'll take him on a permanent.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Yes, the Wickham legend is Matt Bloomfield. Yes, he is. And when I used to work in the hospital at West Suffolk, there's a porter there, very nice lad, and his daughter is engaged to Matt Bloomfield, believe it or not. So there you go. So there's a little bit of news for you as well. So yeah, which I didn't realise until he told me that day. So yeah, I mean, so we go back to January, and we played against Cambridge United in the Cup. Now, a week before that, 6 days before that game, I thought, I'm going to go to the game. I'm dying to see us have a cup run. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to go. There's plenty of tickets left. I'm going to go. So I got a ticket, and I was like, yes, we've got new owners now. It's a different direction now. We are going to take notice of, cup runs now. So I thought, great opportunity. Cambridge at home. I said 2-0. Easily we should beat Cambridge 2-0. And went to the game. And it was far from the game that we thought it was going to be. Some fans had 3-0. Some fans had 4-0. And it ended up Cambridge winning that game 1-0. And their goalkeeper that day, Meetoff, had one hell of a game. Nothing could get past him. Everything we threw at him, he saved. And we've seen this before with goalkeepers. And he's probably thought, I'm in St James's Park. I'm in a bigger arena than what I am when I'm playing for Cambridge United. And he's probably thought, I'm going to make sure I come out here a hero. And that's exactly what he did. It seemed a very low point in Newcastle United at the time because not only that, we were in the bottom three of the Premier League at the time. So we kind of thought, what's going on here? This really isn't great, is it? I remember coming back on the train and I had a load of Cambridge fans on the train. That was absolutely awful because obviously they were just jubilant that they had beaten Newcastle, and fair play to them, beating us. And I was just sitting on that train thinking, right, I'm not happy we've lost, but I'm looking at the positive. I'm trying to find a positive from this result. And the positive I did sort of find was I thought, at least one thing, we haven't got to worry about a cup run. We can just concentrate solely on the Premier League and staying in the league because we were nowhere near safety. So I thought, there's positives there. Yes, it's not nice to get beat, but the positive is, let's see how we get on in the Premier League. And, Rory, can you remember that game against Cambridge? I mean, what was your thoughts that we lost 1-0?
It was pretty much, here we go again, typical Newcastle, getting knocked out by the underdog. So basically, my feelings at the beginning of January were, there was a sort of mixture of trepidation of the position we were, but I was talking to a friend just after the takeover, which puts everything in perspective, was that we were awful with the cabbage. And obviously, we got Eddie Howe in, and you could see that things were improving. The play was improving, but the results weren't. My thoughts is, well, if we can get to the January window in touch with 17th, we'll spend in the January and we'll be okay. Obviously, we had trips in, was the first one in, and the attitude looked a lot better. It's one of those days where we could still be playing now and we wouldn't have scored where their keeper was playing. They had one chance in the game and took it. So it's frustrating, but it's what we've got used to, getting knocked out by underdogs in the FA Cup in the third or fourth round. It's just one of those things. I mean, how many times has it happened over the years? And that's even before he who shall not be mentioned was owning the club. We've done
Yeah.
it under loads of different managers. Got knocked out by Ronnie Radford's goal for Hereford.
Yeah.
And ever since then, the BBC, in their montage of clips for their FA Cup, they always show that goal. I think there's been other giant killings. Why do you have to keep showing that one? It was like 50 years ago, and you're still bloody showing it.
Why don't they show Mickey Thomas at Wrexham scoring past David Seaman of Arsenal?
Yeah. I mean, Wrexham was Liverpool out of the cup before. And,
yeah.
You had Sutton United beating Coventry with the actual holders.
Yeah.
They never show those goals, do they?
No. So after that performance against Cambridge, I was back at Newcastle a week after because we were playing Watford. And before I go to talking about the Watford game, I'll put up on screen the table at the time on New Year's Day last year. Well, this year, sorry. I can't say last year because we're New Year.
That's going to stop.
This
I'm
is
just going to stop the camera for a second. I need to get a drink.
Okay, mate, no worries. So, guys, this is the table. I'll just zoom it up a touch if I can. There we go. So, yeah, there's the table there. So we were sitting second bottom on the 1st of January, and we were 2 points away from safety. So the game we were playing against was Watford, and this was the ideal time to be playing Watford. Because you thought, right, we get a win, we'll move out that bottom three because we'll go above Watford as well. And so it was a funny game, I remember. First, it was a very cagey game. I mean, first half, it was 0-0. Second half, St. Maxim lit up. He done one of his amazing runs and scored a cracking goal past Ben Foster. And we thought, great, we're 1-0 up. Fantastic. You know, it was getting towards the end of the game. And 88 minutes, Joe Pedro pops up and knocks a header in. Could see a fault from the cells as well, not getting up with them properly. And then you felt deflated because you thought, well, hang on, we were winning this game. We should have put this game to bed. We've ended up with a draw 1-1. So on that table, we only got a point out of that rather than 3 points where we could have been out the drop zone by then. And so you're kind of thinking it was going to be one of those times when it was just going to go back, forth. So I was disappointed at the 1-1 because I really thought this was the game where we needed to beat Watford, knowing that we do have some hard fixtures to come up as well. I mean, can you remember that game as well, Rolly?
I remember the frustration of letting it slip because we had that game won. And it was one of those traits that we'd had under the previous manager that we'd be okay for the first sort of like 60 minutes and then we'd tire. And then they'd either do a number on us or get that equaliser right at the end. And it was doubly annoying with it being Watford, one of their relegation rivals, to let them get those 2 points right at the end. Thinking, well, when's the next win going to come?
Yeah.
We've got one win. We need another. We need it soon. And Watford was an ideal game to get it, and we blew it.
Yeah, it was one of them. We should have beat Watford, to be fair. And but it was one of them. We didn't beat them. And we were still sitting with just that single win in the Premier League. I mean, it was disappointing at the time, but you know, it was one of those. It was just one of those games. We weren't going to do stuff the easy way, that's for sure. Let's just say we weren't going to do it the easy way, but just such a shame we didn't. You know, I'm going to go to some comments first before I pick up on the next one. Knight says Matty would be amazing at Wrexham. Yeah, I think he would be, yeah. John says, hi, chaps. Hi, John. I hope you're well, mate. Alan says, lads, who would you like to see out the door in January? January? Well, the one I said yesterday I would like to see out the door would be this guy, Ryan Fraser. I call him Michael Owen Mark II, and I'll tell you why I call him Michael Owen Mark II. Plays better for his country than he does for his club. And he's another one that he's flattered to deceive. Yes, he's had a few good games, but not many. That's the problem. If you want to be a consistent performer, you've got to have great games or good games week in, week out. Or drop your form once in a while. But when you don't have too many great games, then I'm sorry, but this guy, for me, has to go. That's who I would get rid of. I don't know about you, Rolly. Would you agree?
Yeah, he's one that I'd let go. I think Paul Dummett is another great servant to the club, but over the last few years, he's just been so injury prone. He's just filling up the squad. There's no disrespect to him, but it doesn't contribute. And that's because he's injured all the time. Another one you might look at, obviously Gillespie, though he's not in the actual 25-man squad. I think Matt Ritchie will go. But I don't think there'll be. I think we may have 3 or 4 go. I can't see more than that, and we'll bring 2 or 3 in.
Yeah.
And some of the people that are out on loan will go as well. Obviously, Kieran Clark's out of contract at the end of the season, so he's gone, which is good. I'm not sure what's happening with Isaac Hayden, but I don't know if there's an obligation to buy in his loan with Norwich.
I think there is. If Norwich get promoted, then I think we can sell him to Norwich. I think there's a thing in a clause in the contract for that.
Yeah. I think there is, but there's still a few players that the so-called deadwood that we need to get rid of. And that's one of the reasons why when people say, "Oh, get rid of ASM," I think, well, we're trying to make the squad stronger. Let's get rid of the deadwood first before we start upgrading some of our better players.
Yeah, definitely. Jody says, hope you're well, Tony. I'm absolutely brilliant, mate. Cheers, how are you? You had a great Christmas. Gary says, hi, Tony. You just seen the poll. You think it'll be where do you think we'll finish it? Just saying that's all me. No, that's absolutely fine. I just thought I'd put that up because I was just wanting to see what people's thoughts were before a ball was kicked this season, where they would think we would be come New Year's Eve, come the end of the year. Davey says, afternoon, Tony, Rolly and all. Good afternoon, Davey. I hope you're well. Geordie Boy says, can you put a poll where I think we can finish? I'll tell you what, I'll do that. I'll stop this poll and I'll change the poll around. That's not a problem, mate. No worries. Jules says, good evening, peeps. Evening, Tony. Evening, Jules. I hope you're well. Tanchi says, crazy to think, looking at that table a year ago, all those teams had 1 to 3 games in hand on us as well. That's the crazy thing. Yes, they had games in hand. And, it wasn't their destiny to stop us staying up, but they cocked up. Jules says, don't forget to show Tony some love. Get the clicking of the likes, subscribing and sharing. Thanks very much, Jules. Thank you.
Cheers, Jules.
Davey says, Hayden's injured again. Is he injured? Yeah, I saw the thing he put out. I don't know if that was about... I don't know if that was just because Dean Smith's left the club, but yeah. But hopefully Norwich will get somebody else in, and if they do get promoted, hopefully they'll keep Hayden, and because he will do a great job for Norwich without a shadow of a doubt. And Jules talking to, yeah. So guys, after that, draw against Watford, We then had a tricky trip to Ellen Road to face Leeds United, and not an easy place to go to, especially with the fact that we were in a relegation battle as well. And Leeds were playing good football under Bielsa because they play attacking football. But we went in that game, and I remember watching that game, and it was one of those games. Leeds could have scored in the first half, didn't score. Then we got a free kick. I remember Shelby scored from the free kick, and we ended up winning that game 1-0. And when we won that game, it was a relief because we got our second win of the season as well. And then after that Leeds game, towards the end of January, we went off to Saudi Arabia for a warm weather training because it was an international break, and we beat Al Ittihad 2-1 in a friendly. So then we go into February, and our next match was against Everton, and we all remember that match. That was a brilliant game, against the Scouse Mackhams as well, and we all remember that game.
That's a class game. I mean, Lascelles essentially scoring at both ends within minutes of each other. The goalie scored for them, then hitting the crossbar and going off the guy that had the shot for Everton to make it 1-1, and then we just tore him apart. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, when you look at that game at Everton, it's in James's Park, but against Everton, I mean, the first goal, it was the header that come from Mason Holgate. Lascelles and went in the back of the net, and we sort of thought 1-0 down. And you got a bit deflated thinking, oh, here we go. But within a minute, we get a corner up the other end. Lascelles header hits off Mason Holgate and goes in the back of the net.
Came off the crossbar.
It was 1-1 for them two players, for a starters, because, they both had shots on target, but they went in off each other. So it's a weird way to get 2 own goals in the game, especially from players who were the ones essentially who caused the own goals. Yeah, and then it was 1-1, and that was half time, and then second half came, and Ryan Fraser scored. I remember when he scored, and then Trippier scored with that fantastic free kick, didn't he? I mean, that was a great free kick from Trippier, and we went on and won that game 3-1.
Was that the one that was this the game that they first started publicising the after win photos, or was that the Leeds game?
That was the Leeds game.
Yeah.
The Everton game was where Bruno come on for about the last 5 minutes or so.
Oh, yeah, and you could see the class of the guy in just that 5-minute cameo.
And then he put hearts in mouths of Newcastle fans because he started just dribbling around the box with the ball, and everybody's like, just kick it. And he's like, well, calmly just gets around a couple of players, and then it goes out, and he's like, but that's the class of the guy. His ball control is absolutely fantastic.
Right, but my feelings on that game against Everton was that this was the one that it really felt like lift-off.
Yes.
We got the one against Leeds, which was, in some respects, we're lucky because Leeds had lots of chances, couldn't finish. And we were hanging on it a bit. We got the goal and hung on for the end. And you could see it lifted the players. But to have Everton come to us, who are a fair way up the table compared to us, and outplay them like that, you felt this is it. This is liftoff.
Yeah.
And so we got all our new players in by then. And you could see there's a sea change in the way we were playing, and the way we were defending, and we just looked a completely different team.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we had that Sunday game against Aston Villa. And Trippier scored the free kick in the first half, went off injured in the second half with his metatarsal.
You have to go on mute for a second.
Which was a blow for the next 12 to 14 weeks because we thought, he's out for a few months now. But we beat Villa 1-0. We managed to hold on to that game. Then we went away to West Ham, went 1-0 down, equalised before half-time through Joe Willock. And then we went to Brentford and we beat them 2-0 as well. Away from home, which was a terrific result as well, away to Brentford. And that completed the February lineup from that game. And it made us look better in the table at where we were after that game against Brentford, when Joe Linton and Joe Willock scored the 2 goals in the first half. And if you remember, there was a red card in that game for Brentford after Mike Dean was told to go to the monitor, check out a bad tackle as well. So what I'll do is I'll share the screen now and get this table up. So this is on the 27th of February. So this is after all our February games. So I'll just bring that up a bit more. I'll zoom that up. So there we go, guys. So so this is a table at the 27th of February, and as you can see, we are now in 14th place with 5 wins, 10 draws, 10 defeats, and we are now 4 points above the relegation zone. So things started looking a lot healthier for us. Still not safe, but things were starting to look a lot healthier at that point as well. So I'll just leave that table up there just for a moment while you have a look at it. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the bottom 3, you had Norwich, Watford and Burnley. And then you had Everton 4th bottom. I mean, how the tables had turned from what we were doing, absolutely brilliant to see that we actually did move up that table as well. I'll just go into some more comments. And Troll says, evening Trolls, hope you're well, mate. He says, evening to Tony and Rolly, says Trolls. Davey says, Leeds game was where we start to get better. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You could see the change and the way they responded to the goal, and you could just see that togetherness starting to be built into the team. You could see it coming through, and the way they fought when we got ahead to stay ahead.
Tanji says, Everton game, Dele Alli squared up to Joe Linton and Tunnel, big mistake. Yeah, if you're going to square up to somebody, don't square up to Joe Linton. He's a bit of a beast, and I don't think Dele Alli won that day, did he? Jody Boy says, I think Sheldon. Sorry.
So the thing about Dele Alli, what a waste of talent, because he was such a good player when he was at Spurs, when the previous owner wouldn't pay $5 million for him. And he's just got off it's just his career's just disappeared down the U-bend. It's always a shame when you see a talented player like him absolutely go off the rails and lose it. Because I mean, he's toxic now. I don't think anyone in the Premier League would touch him with a barge pole.
To be fair, I think he's finished I think his career's just about finished, isn't it? I mean, he's not the player he used to be, is he? I mean, he's really,
and he's only a young lad as well. Was he like 27, 28?
26.
26. He should be reaching his peak. Yeah, he's in Turkey. They don't want him there anymore.
Yeah.
Sad.
It is. It's such a sad.
But the good thing about him signing for Everton is we dodged the bullet.
Yeah, again, he didn't want to come to us because we're in a relegation battle, the same as Van de Beek, and well, we know what happened there, and I bet they're both eating their words now. I hope they are anyway.
Maybe Eddie could have turned Dele Alli round. Yeah, right. If he can do it for Joe Linton and Miggy and Longstaff and Shah and Willock, I'm sure he can do it for Dele Alli.
Yeah,
maybe if we can get him for £2.50 or $3, it might be worth giving him a trial in the pre-season and see if we can turn him around.
I wouldn't touch him now. He's
No, I wouldn't. But it's the sort of thing that if anyone could do it, it'd be Eddie.
yeah.
But we're looking for a better quality player anyway now.
Yeah. Right, guys, I've put a new poll in the chat there. So where do you think we'll finish this season? So there you go. Get voting, guys. And we'll announce the results of that before the end of the show. Jody Boyce, I think Shelby's new injury could be the end of his time here. Yeah, I think it will be. I mean, I think we had plans to probably sell him in January. It's going to be the summer now. So, yeah. Knight says, can we just get the Liverpool match seen as we were robbed? Yeah, we're not even there yet, are we? Knight says, Everton should have been relegated last season. I think they should have. Maybe this season is their turn to go down.
Hopefully.
I think one of Wolves and Forest might get out of that, so it'll send Everton down, won't it? I mean, just think Everton's got to play away to Man City on Saturday, and that won't be easy for Everton either. Should be a walk in the park for City, by the way. Wayne says, evening, lads. Evening, Wayne. Hope you're well. Cole says, so happy we didn't get Dele Alli or Van de Bench. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's all he likes to sit on the bench, isn't he? I mean, he's terrible, isn't he? Jody Boy, sick of other fan bases saying money that has got us where we are now. No mention of we play fantastic football under Eddie. The thing is, Jody Boy, is that with this is the argument I had yesterday, because I was doing a match review on John's and we had a Leicester fan in the chat come on and said, oh yeah, it's all to do with oil money. And I just went on to a rant. But the thing is, yes, we've spent some money on players. We haven't gone out stupidly and spent 100 million on this one, 70 or 80 million on that one. Yes, we've bought Isak, who was 63 million in total after the add-ons. But we had players there at this club that Eddie Howe has brought through. Joe Linton. Look what he's done to Joe Linton. Joe Linton's never been a striker. He couldn't hit a barn door. Now he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Even Liverpool are looking at him. You've got Miggy Almiron, who under Steve Bruce, to be fair to him, was running around like a headless chicken because Steve Bruce hasn't got a clue how to manage players. Eddie Howe has turned Almiron into a world beater. And I'm sorry, if you were to sell Almiron now, you'd be looking at 40, 50 million pounds easily, because that's how much he's improved. So, you know, you've got to look at things like that. And you look at Nick Pope, he's starting to get better with his kicking now, because he knows he's playing in a different team. So all these players can improve. And you're absolutely right what you're saying. We are playing great football under Eddie Howe. So they can't say it's because we're going out there spending a heck of a lot of money. It's just because we've gone out there, we've bought well. That's the thing. The key ingredient is we've bought well. Dan Burn, 12 million, bargain. Kieran Trippier, 12 million, bargain. England international goalkeeper Nick Pope, 10 million, bargain. You've got Matt Targett, 15 million. Yes, he doesn't get in the team at the moment. Still, it's a bargain because he's a left back. He's English as well. You've got Bruno, 35 million pound, bargain. You've got Botman, 35 million pound, bargain. One of the best centre backs in the Premier League. He's made Shaw into a heck of a right centre back as well. So all these players coming in, they've been absolutely brilliant. Isak's coming. Yes, he scored a couple of goals. Sadly, he's out injured. But when he comes back, it'll be like another new signing coming back into the team. So for these fan bases to keep going on saying it's all because of money, they really need to really look and do their research first before they start shouting their mouths off.
I think the other thing to mention on that is that in this impressive run we've had, for the most part, the teams consisted of at least 5 players and sometimes 6 that were at the club before Eddie Howe got here, before the takeover. So you essentially got half the team were holdovers from the previous regime. So you can't really claim that it's all money because they've raised their game. Miggy is the top scorer in the club, top scoring midfielder in the league. And he was here before. We bought him under the previous owners. Look at Joe Linton. He came with the previous owners. Willett came with the previous owners. Sean Logstaff was here. Look how how good Fabian Schär is now, he can hardly get a game on under the old manager. So it's not just the money. We spent money, but we spent it very well. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't argue that every signing we've had, and I include Chris Wood in that, has played a part in the upturn. I mean, Chris Wood is never going to be a prolific scorer, but he scores important goals. He scored the goal that got us back into the game against Southampton last season. He scored the winner against Wolves, that penalty last season. He got one against Southampton. He got one against Tranmere in the Carabao Cup, and he got the goal that started us off on Saturday.
Yeah,
so he scored important goals. Right, he's not. Callum Wilson never pretends to be. He's never going to score you 15 goals a season. He's a 5 to 10 goal a season guy, but he plays his part. He leads the press quite well. He's not the. I mean, it's a big lad, but you put the ball in the penalty spot, it's almost a guaranteed goal. Somewhere, I'm not sure if it was you, Tony, or someone saying that he hasn't missed a penalty in 6 years.
Yeah, it was somebody in the chat yesterday mentioned that. I think it was Foxy, actually. He said his record's pretty good. Chris Wood, he's not missed a penalty since 2016. His penalty record's pretty good. So...
And we don't play to his strengths either.
Sorry, Rolly?
We don't play to his strengths either, because we're not let's get it out wide and put the cross in. We're getting out wide to Miggy. He plays it inside. He drags it inside, plays it to Bruno, and then sprints for the 6-yard box because the ball's coming back to him there. And if we just slot it past the keeper with his left foot, like he did against Leicester. I mean, the number of goals those two have combined for in that sort of situation is great. Because you notice the moment he lays the ball off to Bruno, rather than sort of hang around or move back out wide, which he used to do, he now makes a beeline for the 6-yard box because he knows the ball's going to come back.
Yeah. I mean, Alan says there, evening guys, I think the Leeds game last season was important away winning for staying up. Yeah, that was the catalyst. And then he says, and we lost Trippier for a good part of the run. And yeah, we played Emil Kraft, which a lot of fans weren't happy about. Again, another player who anyhow has improved as well.
Oh, I was so worried when he came in. And after about 2 or 3 games, I thought, actually, this guy can play.
Yeah.
I think it's the Bruce effect. When you look at the players that have improved, what they got in common, they've all been bruised.
Tanji says, I noticed Van der Bench come on for Man United last night. Let's hope he plays against us next time so we can say we are fighting for a Champions League spot instead of relegation. I would love somebody on the pitch to say to him, by the way, we're not in a relegation fight now. Knight says, my head says top 4, but my heart says champions. Hey, there's nothing wrong with it.
It's dare to dream. There's nothing to suggest that this form is a flash in the pan because the form we're in now, we've had it since January last year.
Yeah.
The only difference now is that when we're playing the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Tottenham, rather than losing, we're beating them.
Joel says, can't see the chat laughing. The poll's blocking it. Is it blocking it? Sorry if it is. I didn't realise it was blocking the chat. I've just looked. It's not at the moment, I don't think, is it? No, I think it's fine now, yeah. So, should be all right there. Gary says, Forest are home to Chelsea next game, lads. Well, I mean, I know Forest got beat last night off Man United 3-0.
They were competitive, though.
But if you look at that game against Liverpool when they played at home, they beat Liverpool 1-0. So it'll not be an easy game for Chelsea, and I would love to see Forest beat Chelsea.
Yeah. And the other thing, that Forest last night, they were competitive with Man U. I mean, I have no idea why they ruled that goal off for offside. because from what I can see is when they put the lines on for the offside was as the guy headed the ball, but it's supposed to be when the ball struck. So they put the lines on at the wrong time.
It's strange that far.
That was really strange because I was thinking, well, why have they got the lines there? Because the ball didn't hit anybody on its path to the guy that scored. So therefore, you need to go back to when the ball was struck and then draw the lines, not when he's about to head the ball.
I think the way forward, we're offside now with like VAR is what they've done in the World Cup. I thought that was a great system. And it's an even better one. But we shall see if they bring that in. Alan says, it's a combination of a good manager, player improvement, good buys. Absolutely, Alan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just people are just salty and jealous. That's the problem. That's the problem here. Salty people. Knight says, Miggy does more defensive work than anyone because he allows trips to get forward. Those two together are amazing on the right. They understand each other so well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with that.
That was highlighted against Leicester's one time when Trips lost the ball and Leicester are breaking. The guy was looking where he's going to cross it, and then Miggy had nicked in and taken the ball off him because he was chasing back.
Tanji says, I hope Leeds really tire themselves out tonight and beat Man City. They only have a few days rest before they play us. Yeah, we've got 48 hours extra rest over Leeds, so yeah, that'll be interesting. Joel says, I don't predict because when I do, it seems to be a draw or a loss. That's absolutely fine, mate. Davey says, Chelsea apparently bidding 115 million for Enzo Fernandez because he needed a player like J7. Enzo Fernandez, well, if they're going to pay 115 million, I'm sure Benfica will be happy because they've only got 105 release clause in there. So, unless I mean that in euros, by the way. But yeah, still,
I can't see Todd Bowley because he's playing Football Manager with an unlimited budget because he paid 70 million for Fofana from Leicester. The guy's not worth half that. He's just throwing money at it.
I mean, no disrespect to not being funny towards Chelsea, but can you really see Fernandes wanting to go there when he's looking at when teams in the top four are looking at him? I don't think so.
And I think the other thing is Chelsea, they're in the Champions League this season. They're eighth at the moment?
Yeah,
and they're quite a long way behind Spurs, who are fourth. Let alone, even Liverpool are quite a way ahead of them in the Europa spots, and so they're not looking good for the Champions League next season.
Yeah,
I got a feeling that Bowley's going to panic buy. So I just hope he comes in for Ryan Fraser. We say, "Oh, we want 50 million for him." We go, "Eat that. Here's 60 just to make sure."
Yeah, that'd be lovely if it happened.
Yeah.
Troll says Wood should play to our strengths, not the other way around, in my opinion. Fair comment. Jody says Wood's only missed 2 penalties. What someone said. Yeah, that was Foxy who said that. He's only missed 2 penalties, and not since 2016 has he missed a penalty.
The other thing about Wood playing to our strength, he should play to our strengths, is yes, in an ideal world, but in the player has certain attributes that they're good at. He's okay at the press, but the other stuff is not great at. And at his age, he's not going to change. So
yeah,
when he's in the team, it should be a bit of give and take. We should try and get a few more balls in for him. To be honest, it doesn't really make much difference because I keep winning when he's playing. So I don't mind.
Geordie says, chat's fine. Yeah, I've just had a look as well. Tanji says, Forest only scored 1 away goal this season. It's a home form that is slightly better. Yeah, I totally agree with that. They've just got to start winning the home games against teams like surround them, and they should get out of it.
Yeah, I think they'll get out. I think, though they lost to United yesterday, they made them work for it. And if Rashford's just been, he's almost in as good form as Miggy at the minute.
Yeah.
I think this could be the season where all 3 promoted clubs stay up. I think all of them have got, all of them I think will stay up easily. And I think Bournemouth have enough to beat the teams at the bottom, which will give them points to stay up. And I think Forest, now that they've played together for a while, because essentially when they played us, the team had only actually met each other sort of like the day before because they bought so many players. Now they're starting to gel. You can see they're playing better. And I think that they're only 1 point away from safety. So as long as they stay in touch and don't get cut adrift, they've got a really good chance of staying up.
Yeah. Alan says, our owners don't want second best, but the best for the coming season. Absolutely. And that's why I think where we are now, who wouldn't want to come to Newcastle? That's the thing. Who wouldn't want to come? Davey says, Liverpool are in for him too, for Fernandes. Yeah, there's quite a lot of clubs. And Tanji says, my unpredictable text is working on this phone, laughing. Yeah. Oh, we know what it's like. It's absolutely awful at times. And I mean, I've sent messages and I'm thinking, oh, hang on, that's not the right spelling, and it's gone, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So going back to the last season as well. So after that game, February, in March, we played Brighton. We won 2-1 at home to Brighton. I was at that game. We then went on and beat Southampton 2-1.
Yeah. Bruno's first start.
When Wood and Bruno scored, 2 of our new signings, which Hassan Hutel said shouldn't have been playing.
That's funny.
Then we lost 1-0 away to Chelsea. Very controversial game.
Havertz should have been sent off.
Yeah, for his elbow.
And we should have had a penalty when I forget who it was. One of the
Murphy.
Calabar was trying to exchange shirts with Murphy.
Yeah, and then obviously Havertz got the winner.
Okay.
Then we went and played Everton on a Thursday night, and that was the night that that stupid Harry Potter lookalike decided to cable tie himself to the goalpost.
That was the game that saved Everton. Not because they won. It's because that idiot zip-tied himself to the post. Because we're dominating that game. The crowd were out of it, and that brought the crowd back into it. And they fluked the win and thought, blimmin' heck, maybe if we shout like that, we can win some more games. And they fluked their way to staying up. Because they won 3 or 4 games which they had no business winning by the way they played. They basically dragged everybody down to their level. And fluke goal. I mean, like when they beat Man United 1-0, they were awful. Man United were bad, and it took a really bad deflected goal for them to win. They just they sort of, if they were a cat, they'd only have 1 night live left after that season.
Yeah. And Alex Iwobi scored in injury time, and Dubravka should have done better in my eyes on that goal.
I mean, there are a few people that should have done better because we didn't close it down properly.
No. Then in April, we went away to Tottenham, 1-0 up, and then lost 5-1 to Tottenham. We then beat Wolverhampton Wanderers 1-0 at St James's Park.
Well, I say that's Chris Wood, one of his important goals.
We then beat Leicester 2-1 at St James's Park.
Oh, what a winner that was by Bruno after Target stops the ball going out for a goal kick, feeds Willock, who really suckered in Tielemans. That's one of the things I love about Willock. He looks like he's stopping to play the ball in, and then he also just drags the ball forward and accelerates away. Yeah. And the amount of space Bruno made to get on the end of that ball to head the winner in stoppage time, superb goal.
Yeah, and then we beat Crystal Palace 1-0 with that magic goal from Almiron. I mean, that was a cracking goal. We then beat Norwich away 3-0, and then we lost 1-0 at home to Liverpool. And then we go into May. We beat Man City. We got beat, off Man City 5-0, I should say. I'd love to see we gone down there and beat them, hopefully this time round. We beat Arsenal at home 2-0. We absolutely ran right round Arsenal.
That was probably our complete performance of the season.
And that was the night the Arsenal fans all went into a meltdown. Arteta's got to go, Arteta's got to go, Arteta's got to Now I bet they're all licking his backside because where he is, what he's done with Arsenal. And then the final game of the season saw us relegate Burnley after we beat them by 2-1. And so that was at the end of the season. And I'll bring the table up for that as well. I mean, you know, we did fantastic to do what we did. And considering we didn't win our first game till December, we did really, really well to stay up. So I'll just bring this table up, guys. Just bear with me. Right. I'll just zoom it up as well. So, right. Just get this off there. That's it. Right. Bear with me, guys. So there we go. That's the table. And after 38 games, we finished 11th place, 13 wins, 10 draws, and 15 losses, scoring 44 goals and conceding 62 with a minus 18 goal difference. I mean, we ended on 49 points. We were only 7 points off 7th place, which would have got us into Europe, believe it or not. I mean, that was a fantastic achievement considering, like I say, we didn't win our first game until we beat Burnley at home 1-0 in December. And yeah, brilliant end to the season. That 9-game unbeaten run helped us as well. And it was a fantastic ending to the season. And it meant we were still in the Premier League. And it was job done. Absolutely job done. And then it helped us going on to this season as well. So, yeah, I mean, guys, that was an absolute brilliant time. And to finish in 11th was fantastic. Just going to a few comments. Wayne says, Saudis never like being second best. No, they don't. Troll says, so that Simeone has offered us and other clubs loan Felix till the summer. Thoughts? I've not seen a loan because I've heard Simeone says Felix is quite important to them. So I don't know. That may be a conflicting report then.
I heard it, but it doesn't make sense.
No. Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, first game of the season. I still don't know how we went in at half time 0-0. Me neither, Gary. I thought we would have been a goal or two up by then.
I mean, we dominated it.
Yeah. Wayne says, the lad who zip-tied himself to the poster Harry Potter looked like went to prison for that. Yeah, absolutely. You see, my question still on that one is how on earth he got past all that security to get on the pitch and to tie himself to the thing. It's just madness. Mm-hmm. It just shows you how bad the security is there. And then we saw the security again when they all ran on the pitch against Palace. And then one fan had a flare-up with Vieira. But then, what does that fan expect? If you're going to go up and put your middle finger in front of Vieira's face, then how do you expect Vieira to react? Is he just going to stand there and laugh at you? I don't think so. Idiots. That's all you are, idiots. Tamji says, a Bruno header against Leicester for me was the best header of the calendar year from any team. That wasn't easy. It wasn't, and it was up my end. I was in the Milburn paddock end. I just couldn't believe it. And it was just brilliant. That was probably the best shithousery win to have. Troll says, the header from Bruno at home to Leicester was his first goal by header. Yeah, exactly. Again, first goal for Troll. For Bruno. Yeah, so you're right there, Trolls. I mean, you know, we've come into this season now, and things are going great this season. I mean, we're doing so well. I mean, nobody would have thought where we would be by the end of this calendar year. I for one, at the beginning of the season, all I was thinking was, if we get into 7th place at the end of the season, that's progress. And to think where we are now, it. I mean, I saw a comment yesterday on our group, on a WhatsApp group, and they said, just wondering when the bubble burst, how are we going to react? Well, we've already proved how we react from that. When we lost to Liverpool in that controversial game, which started off with VAR saying between Gomez and Isak, they couldn't tell whose shadow was what on the pitch, which to me was a load of crap. So that goal was ruled out. And then Liverpool got the equaliser through Firmino. And then they got that winner right at the end through Carvalho. When the referee added on a minute and a half, now the minute and a half Pope was down for should have only been to 96 and a half. So we went on to 98. So why, I do not know. Andre Marinat probably just saw the board where it says blow the whistle when Liverpool score. And when they got that corner, Carvalho scored. Whistle went. Him and Harvey, I think Harvey Elliott went and done that celebration with a guns thing, which was wrong in my opinion.
That's just days after a little kid got shot in Liverpool as well.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
And then we lost that game, and we had the perfect game in Palace to put that right. I went to that game. Isak missed a chance in the first half, which he should have buried. We were ruled up. We were robbed in that game because the goal that Willock got when he got hit as well. I mean, actually, when he got pushed over by Mitchell, that should have been a goal. Didn't stand. Got choked off by VAR.
I mean, at the worst, that should have been. I mean, the guy had three options to disallow the goal, which he did, which was the wrong option, award the goal, or give us a penalty. Because Willett was fouled, which is why he went into the goalkeeper. Yeah. If you're saying that there's a foul before the ball went into net, well, you can say, well, you're playing advantage because Willett was fouled, so you can give the goal. But there's no way that should have been disallowed.
Yeah. So we had that, and then so we drew a Palace, drew a Bournemouth, and technically up until the World Cup, we were 10 games unbeaten in the Premier League, and we've beat Leicester, so we're now 11 games unbeaten in the Premier League, and I mean, absolutely fantastic to see where we are. And this is the table as it stands now. So we're sitting second in the league, 16 played, won 9, drew 6, lost 1, scored 32, 11 goals against, and a goal difference of plus 21 and 33 points. Obviously, I think we all know Man City's going to beat Leeds tonight, if I'm honest. And if they do beat Leeds, they go back above us. If they draw with Leeds, they go above us on goal difference. But still, to be where we are now at this point has made me so happy. I just couldn't believe it when I saw this. How well we've improved. I mean, like I say, if I was to think at the start of the season, where would we be at the end of December? I would have said I'll be happy if we're in between 7th and 10th place.
Yeah,
but to be where we are now is an absolute fantastic achievement.
And I think part of the key to that is that we bought so well. I mean, Nick Pope has been superb. It's not been used that much because we've been defending so well. And Sven Botman has been out of this world. I mean, we actually haven't lost when he started a game.
Yeah.
Or rather, when he's played in a game, we haven't lost.
So I've got the poll results now, guys. So I've clicked the poll off now, and 78% of the votes say we'll finish top 4. 21% are saying we'll finish between 5th and 7th. So the majority of the chat of the vote is saying top 4 we will finish. Just go through a couple of comments before we wrap up. Knight says the best bit was a fan gave a knife to security, cut the kid free, then he gave it back to the fan. Yeah, I can't understand that. I really don't. I mean, it's just just absolutely mindless why that steward done that. And Mighty Max says that second goal from Bruno was out of this world, including the full build-up from the target. One of my favourites. Yeah.
Yeah.
Angie says the Just Out protesters have been quiet lately. Must be too cold outside down the roads. Instead, they must be keeping warm in their gas guzzling homes. Absolutely, Tangy. Harry says the invader on the pitch, but no punishment for the club lads. Yeah, absolutely. They got no punishment whatsoever, which there should have been. We also robbed at Brighton. Yes, we were. When if the referee had just not blew his whistle, then we would have probably won that game because Wilson's goal would have stood.
Yeah, but we probably didn't deserve to win it because Brighton were the better team.
That's when Paul pulled off a great save against Pascal Gross. And great show, says Trolls. Yeah, guys, so we're going to wrap up now. Before we go, Rolly, would you like to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, on Twitter at Poll67.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much for that. So guys, if you like what you see, then please hit the like button. It does help the channel move up the search results and helps people find it more easily as well. Also, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so. Helps the channel grow. And also the bell notification tells you when we're live, have a pre-record on, or any upcoming shows. So there'll be no show tomorrow, guys, because I'm on my way up to Newcastle tomorrow. Unfortunately, not for the game at the weekend, which I wished I was. But I may do a vlog on the Friday from St James's Park. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, guys, thank you very much for coming on, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.
Cheers.